We'll give it another maybe minute to 3:03 and then get started. Hello, Daniel. Okay, all right. Well, it is 3:03, so we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome to our October webinar. Today, the bulk of this is going to be about utility assistance, everybody's favorite topic. So that's going to be the bulk of this. And then at the end of the webinar, I'm going to do something that I'm going to try to do for all of the upcoming webinars, just what I like to call brief check-ins. So just I'm going to go over a few things that, you know, are just brief topics to touch on for navigation specialists. So some things that, you know, might help with QA, or just something new that's happening, or good news, or whatever. So we'll spend a little bit of time on that once we're done talking about utilities. The first part of our utility training today is, oh, yeah?
Where's here?
Hello? Whoever's talking, it's really choppy. Okay. Well, if you have a question, you can shoot me an email about it. Or if you're having a hard time getting in, you can call 211 supervisor and see if you can get some help with logging in. So to get started, before we get into the meat of all systems, we want to focus on how to have a conversation about utilities. And so Rob and I are going to go. Yeah. Can you not see? Share. All right. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes. Yes. I can't.
So. Okay.
It was like
All
that
right.
this morning too.
On my phone at my desk. No. To plug in there. We're logged in here. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I'm just going to keep going for right now. Todd's going to try to find me a different headset so that the audio isn't quite so choppy. So I apologize for that. So what we did is I put together a short little script of how to have a conversation. So we have a sample conversation that we're going to go through for a caller that needs some utility assistance here. I'm going to try to see if this works any better. Hold on just a second. Okay. All right. Everybody hear me okay?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Is this better than before?
Yes. Yes.
Will you hang that up for me, please? Okay. All right. Thanks. All right. Sorry for the delay. Okay. So Rob and I are going to go through a sample utility call. Thank you for calling 211. This is Molly. How may I help you?
Hi, Molly. I fell behind on my gas bill, and now I have a shut-off notice. Is there any place that can help?
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Whoops. I'm sorry to hear that. Did something happen recently that caused you to fall behind?
Yeah, I was off work on unpaid FML leave for a few weeks, and that caused me to fall behind on some of my bills.
Oh, I understand. It's tough to play catch up. Are you back to work now?
Yeah, I started back a week ago.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Do you know what your shutoff date is?
Yes, it's a week from today.
Okay. So you have a little time to get this squared away. I can help you explore some options. What have you tried so far?
Nothing really. I just got the bill with the shut-off notice, and I was telling a friend about it, and he told me to give 211 a call.
Well, I'm glad he told you to call. I have a few questions for you so that I can find some options that might work. How much do you need to pay?
$125.
Okay, well, that isn't too much.
No, it's not. I could probably come up with half of it right now, but my friend said the gas company won't work with you.
Well, have you ever been on a payment plan with the gas company before?
No, normally my income is enough to pay all my bills. This unpaid leave caused me to miss a couple payments.
Okay. Well, the utility companies do offer some payment plans as long as you weren't already on one. There's a 1/3 plan where you pay 1/3 now, 1/3 next month plus your current usage, and then 1/3 the following month plus your current usage. There's also a 1/6 plan and a 1/9 plan. Some utility companies will offer other options too.
Really? I'm sure I could manage that and be back on track.
Well, great. Let me pull up a little more information for you. Now, different programs will serve different areas and sometimes different age groups. Would it be okay if I asked for your zip code and your age?
Sure. My zip code is 44114, and my age is 32.
Thank you. Now, sometimes there's some additional programs that are available to veterans. May I ask if you or if anyone in your household is a veteran or active military?
Yeah, nobody in the household is veteran or active military.
Okay, thanks. Now, is your gas service through Dominion?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So what you would want to do is call Dominion at 1-800-362-7557 and ask about getting on a payment plan. I can also look into some programs that might be able to help you with making a payment. Would you like me to check on that for you?
No, not right now. I think I should be fine as long as I can get on a payment plan.
Okay, great. Now, you said earlier that you had fallen behind on a few bills. Is there something else I might be able to help you with?
Not today. I just want to call the gas company and get this taken care of right now.
Okay, well, I understand. Well, if for any reason that payment plan doesn't work for you, or if you have other needs, please call us back and let us know. We'd be happy to help, and we're available 24 hours a day.
Oh, thank you, Molly. I will.
Well, thank you for calling 211, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye. Okay, so there's a few things that I wanted to point out about that conversation. First thing would be to ask open-ended questions whenever you can. Now, because of the nature of utility assistance programs and things that we need to find out in order to navigate and refer, there's going to be a lot of things that do have to be close-ended. However, you may have noticed in the beginning, I asked him what had happened that caused him to fall behind. And so this gives him a little bit of opportunity to, just explain his situation in his own words, and gives me an idea of what's going on. You also may have noticed at one point I asked him, what have you tried so far? Now, that's a good open-ended question, not just for utility assistance, but really for any sort of need that our callers might have. So we have an understanding of, where they're at in the process of finding help. There may be some things that we want to tell them about that, they've already tried. So let's just, kind of figure out where they're at and where they're coming from before we delve into the database and look for anything. You may have noticed too that I expressed some empathy after he told me that he's been off on an unpaid leave and that he's got the disconnection notice. I told him I'm sorry to hear that. So anytime that we can express some sort of empathy to a person's situation, we want to do that, not because it's not a very fun situation to be in when your utility is off or when you're being threatened with shut off. So just to offer empathy and encouragement is important. Also, you want to make sure that you have a good understanding of the caller's situation before you start collecting any of the demographic information. So, Rob and I had a pretty long conversation before I even asked him what his zip code is or, any other demographic information. I wanted to have a full understanding of what was happening, how he fell behind, what he's tried so far, and all of that before I delved into the database. And then in the closing, I encouraged, and actually, I'm sorry, also with collecting demographic information, you want to be sure to explain why you're asking for those demographic pieces. Let them, and this is a good to just follow your script. At this point, it's right in the script. Different programs will serve different areas and ages. So can I ask for your age and zip code? Sometimes there's some additional help for veterans. Do you mind if I ask if there's any veterans or active military in the household? So that they know that you have a purpose for asking that information, and the purpose is to try to find appropriate resources for them to help. Okay, and then in the end, for your closing, you want to make sure that you're encouraging the caller to call back if the information that you gave them doesn't pan out or if they have additional needs. We also want to thank them for calling. These are things that it's important for us to have in the closing, not only because it's an easy way for us to get our QA points, but also because this is something that is in the AIRS guideline. When you close out a call, you have to thank the person for calling 211 and encouraging them to get back in touch with us if things don't work out or if they have other needs. So now from here, I'm going to hand the controls over to Rob, and he's going to really get into the meat of all of the different utility assistance programs.
All right. Hi, all. As Molly says, we will be discussing the various aspects of utility assistance in today's training. That's including types of assistance available in the major programs. For many of you, you're probably going to have a sense of deja vu because nothing has changed, and a lot of this will probably look familiar from last year. I'm also going to follow how it is kind of set up and refer using the category search, but I'm not going to focus so much on how to find each problem or program, I should say, actually, as you probably already know how to find the programs, but we are going to focus on the programs themselves to help you all obtain a better understanding of each program, at least the major ones, so you can better convey these programs to the callers and hopefully send me less transmittals. Please do not try to memorize the database as it is organic and details of a program can change at any moment. So what may be true one day may not necessarily be true the next day. And please read all details and refer when providing information regarding these programs, especially energy assistance programs, as qualifiers differ from program to program. All right, so let's get the ball rolling here. So first we're going to discuss types of assistance. There's cash assistance, discounted in our payment plans, and get help with avoiding utility disconnection. So first, cash assistance for utility bills is exactly what it sounds like. Programs that pay all or a portion of utility bills for those at risk of being shut off or have already been shut off. Discount and or payment plans are programs that provide services at below normal rates or offer a levelized payment plan. And get help avoiding utility disconnections are programs that help people avoid a disconnection or possibly restore service. For 211, this is primarily related to those with medical conditions, except for the winter reconnection order, which anyone can use. So in refer, in the category, you will see utility assistance down at the bottom, and then you see cash assistance, discounts and or payment plans for utilities, including PIP, and get help avoiding utility disconnection. You also notice there's get help with negotiating utility bill and get local or state utility information or file complaints. Not really going over those two today. If you do have questions about those, please send a transmittal or ask your supervisor. In the near future, we may have some more information dealing with these other stuff under utility assistance. So first, we're going to go over cash assistance for utility bills, which are, as mentioned, programs that pay all or a portion of utility bills for those at risk of being shut off or have already been shut off. These are the taxonomy used to find cash assistance for utilities bills. Electric service payment assistance, which are programs that pay all or a portion of the electric service expense. Then there's gas service payment assistance, which are programs that pay all or a portion of the gas service expense. And then there's heating fuel payment assistance. And that's your propane, bottled gas, coal, or wood. And those are programs that pay all or a portion of the home heating fuel expenses. And there's also water service payment assistance. Once again, programs that pay all or a portion of the water service expense. And right under utility assistance and refer, you see cash assistance for utility bills. So you see electric, gas, and it goes down, heating fuel, and then water service as well. So here are some of the cash assistance programs. Please note, not all programs will help with all utilities, so some programs may not be available in all service areas. Some programs are statewide, while others are only available for a particular community. and this may also be true for certain populations. So we have the Home Energy Assistance Program, HEAP, Ohio Fuel Fund, AEP, and Salvation Army programs. We'll discuss these further in a moment here. Real quick, there's the Prevention, Retention, and Contingency Program, better known as PRC. Most of you should already be familiar with PRC, so I'm not going to spend much time with this program. Just a reminder, each county's PRC may be slightly different, and some counties may not offer help through PRC at all. In any case, make sure you read the description and who qualifies. And then oftentimes there may be local help in some communities or even counties, or maybe additional help that is not statewide or a national program or federal program, that is. Example would be programs through St. Vincent de Paul Society and Catholic Charities, programs like that. There are too many to list and talk about individually, but you all know the drill. If it comes up with the caller's zip code, read everything carefully and ensure that the program will work for the caller. You will really see local help for heating fuel assistance and water service payment assistance. You'll see a little bit more local help for those type of things. And then, of course, make sure you use any target terms, as there may be additional help for special populations such as veterans, those dealing with cancer or HIV/AIDS. So we're first going to discuss HEAP, which is the Home Energy Assistance Program. It is a federally funded program administered by the Ohio Development Services Agency's Office of Community Assessment, OCA, and it is designed to help eligible low-income Ohioans meet the high cost of home heating, or during the summer help with the electric bills due to air conditioning. Now, it's important to remember you're going to get a lot of callers who confuse HEAP and PIP and Winter Crisis. Remember, they're all separate programs. HEAP is totally separate than PIP Plus and Winter Reconnection Order, and they will call and often confuse these. So you have to listen to the caller and kind of read and between the lines to see what program they're really looking for or what may fit their needs the best. So there's EHEAP, which is emergency HEAP and is known as Winter Crisis for heating bill assistance, and then Summer Crisis for help with the electric bills during July and August to keep the electric bills affordable. And it does provide emergency help and can help with utility deposits. We'll go further with this in a moment. We'll talk about Winter Crisis in a moment. Real quick, want to go over LI HEAP, Low Income HEAP. It makes a one-time per heating season payment to assist with winter heating bills for those with the for those who reside in Ohio. They will need to have, applicants must have a household gross income that is 175% or less. The big thing here is if somebody qualifies for emergency HEAP, they're going to also qualify for LI HEAP. So you should be giving both. And here's the thing with this. Applications are accepted starting July 1st of each year, with the one-time benefit typically credited and started in January. Now, it does take time to process this application. So if somebody does the application in the middle of December, they're not going to get credited started in January. That just so happens when the program starts to put the money out there in people's accounts. And people can apply for this every year, but they do have to reapply for this through the mail usually. Any questions with LI HEAP? Okay.
Yeah, just one thing about that, just don't assume that when folks go in for their EHEAP appointment that they're automatically going to get them signed up for LI HEAP. I think it really sometimes just depends on who the worker is that you're working with, on if they're going to be thorough and do that or not. So if you're telling them about eHeap, make sure you tell them about LIHeap too.
Oh yeah, and LIHeap does go year round, even though they start the program starts basically in July, but it runs till the end of June of 2018. So basically, they wait to see if there's funding, and then the following year, like for next year, if there's funding, it will start July again. So there's no really time frame on when people have to do the application. But it does help more people out during the winter. You know, that's when it's the most useful. All right, so with Emergency HEAP, we're going to talk about Winter Crisis. Winter Crisis runs from November 1st through March 31st and can be used once and can be used to pay for the winter reconnection order. And this is, once again, that's important to remember the difference. You know, those are two separate programs. People are going to probably call thinking winter reconnection is the same as HEAP. It just so happens HEAP can pay for the winter reconnection order. So it makes a one-time payment during the heating season to reconnect or maintain energy costs for those households. Up to $175 for PUCO regulated companies. $550 for municipal utilities, that would be like your Cleveland Public Power. $750 for those who use bulk fuel, such as propane and bottled gas, and $450 for coal or wood. On the same day as the appointment, agency will send utility company a letter of intent to pay, which the utility company must observe as payment. An actual payment is sent directly to the utility company within 30 days and will be reflected on the bill within 60 to 90 days. And payment can be used to pay reconnection fees or deposits if the client cannot get utilities connected at a new residence due to outstanding bills or previous residents or at previous residents or poor credit. And any PUCO regulated company customer who has confirmed utility assistance appointment has a confirmed utilities assistance appointment with a community action agency will have their disconnection suspended for at least past the date of their appointment. And appointment confirmation will be sent to the utility company within 24 hours. Callers can also call the utility company themselves to confirm that is going through as well if they're worried about it. Now, it's important to convey to callers that when they go to these appointments, that they bring all the documents necessary, because if they don't and they have to make another appointment, the next appointment may not fall into that grace period given. The utility companies do not have to recognize more than, you know, that first confirmed appointment. So it's important to convey to them that, you know, make sure that they bring all the correct documents with them, or they could run into some issues. And it's also note, we'll have to read carefully on how to access, as each community action agency will have a different intake method. Some are by appointment only, while others may have walk-in hours. Please note, right now in Cuyahoga County, there are no walk-ins. COGC stopped doing walk-ins, and CHN hasn't done any walk-ins. However, there is that next day appointment feature, but expect that to get very busy real quick. And also, when they do apply for Winter Crisis, they can also apply or can request a home weatherization program, HWAP, which I'll talk about here in a moment. Any questions on winter crisis as we're coming up on this in a couple weeks? Oh, and by the way, the appointment line, I'm not exactly sure when it's going to open up, but last year it opened up about a week before. So I will keep my ears to the wall on that, and hopefully it will still open up a week before. All right, so as promised, Home Weatherization Assistance Program, HWAP. Is a federally funded low-income residential energy efficiency program that provides assistance to increase the energy efficiency of homes and reduce household energy expenditures. And this could include safety inspection of gas appliances, carbon monoxide alarms, education on energy savings, installations, as well as inspection, repair, and possible replacement of furnace and or hot water tank. They really put an importance of education through this program and try to really teach people how they can save money through energy conservation. And renters do qualify for this, and basically they just need to have a landlord sign something. It's a pretty easy process, and this has been going on. This program's been around for a little while here. If they don't sign up during heat season, applications are available to download through the website. Okay. I'm not going to spend too much time on summer crisis, as we just basically ended summer crisis, and we never know if the program's going to change for next year. So if there's any major changes on this for next year, I will sure to let everybody know. And if you have any questions about summer crisis, when it comes up, you know, send a transmittal or ask a supervisor. Okay. So now let's discuss a little bit about the Ohio Fuel Fund. This program helps customers of First Energy's utility companies, which are Cleveland Electric Illuminating, Ohio Edison, and Toledo Edison, with their electric bill. This is to help them maintain their service or to assist in establishing service for new electric service applicants who have an unpaid bill from a previous residence. This program support is provided through First Energy corporate funds. And please note, funds are not always available. In fact, this time last year, they were out. They were out 2 weeks after summer crisis. So we've been pretty lucky this year that they still have funding. And the program can provide up to $300. It's important to note that if the reconnection fee is more than $300, the client does have to provide the balance of payment first. To qualify, you have to have a disconnection notice, be disconnected, or have a past due balance of $100 or more. And this is one of those programs that expect a good faith payment. Some sort of payment must have been made within the past 90 days to qualify. And how to access this program, many of the application sites seem to be at Salvation Armies. However, some counties do use different sites, such as Cuyahoga, which uses CEOGC and CHN, and then in Marion and Medina counties, applications are actually done through Job and Family Services. But good news is still funding available. Yeah.
Oh, yes, Bob. I'm trying to find out, now with the Ohio Fuel Fund, you have to make some type of payment within the last 90 days. Do you know if someone can even make like $1 payment? Have you heard of that? Or do you know like the minimum? Have you heard of like any type of a minimum with that?
That's a good question, because I know there's another program out there somewhere, and I can't remember which one that does have a minimum payment. But this one doesn't say. I mean, I would assume it has to be more than $1, but you know, in this business, assumptions are not always good and correct.
Right.
You know, I'll try to visit this, or I'll try to get some information on that to see if there is, and then I'll add it in there if there is such a thing.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Oh, it might be helpful just to let folks know too, because there was another question that came up in the previous training about if I haven't made a payment in the last 4 months, if I make a payment today, am I going to be eligible for that program? And as far as we're aware, yes.
And the thing there that ties into that is if they're 4 months behind, there's a good chance that their bill is going to be over $300. So they're still going to have to come up with some sort of money to pay that. What I usually would tell people is if it's more than $300, tell them to make that, let's say it's $400, tell them to make the $100 payment. That way the $300 will cover the rest. That way I think it keeps it simple. Okay, so we'll move on to AEP. They have a program called Neighbor to Neighbor. The Neighbor to Neighbor program is administered by the Dollar Energy Fund, which provides eligible customers with the utility assistance grant applied directly to their AEP Ohio bill. This grant helps limited income customers maintain or restore their basic electric service. Our maximum grant is $200. It's very similar to the Ohio Fuel Fund, but the big difference is this program's not year-round. It's available during summer cooling, like months, July 1st through August 31st, and then also during winter heating season, usually December 1st through April 30th. They do, when this program's active, they require that individuals use HEAP first. They must first do that. It's kind of a program of last resort in that they want you to try other programs first. And then there's also the Columbia Gas Fuel Fund, which is for Columbia Gas customers. It's a fund to use if they have exhausted all other available natural gas assistance programs, and it can pay up to $250 towards the heating cost. Once again, it's the program of last resort, and it starts at some point after HEAP starts, as it's a program last resort. Okay. Any questions on those two programs? Okay. Yeah, those are pretty straightforward. Now we're going to get into the Salvation Army programs. You'll notice Energy Share and Heat Share, it's listed with this, and although Energy Share and Heat Shares are actually programs of the utility companies, an individual accesses the program through the Salvation Army. So if you do not see it listed for a county that the caller lives in, please send a transmittal, because as far as I'm aware, it should be in every county basically that has Dominion East Ohio Gas or Columbia Gas, and I believe both of our, or not both, but all of our counties have one or the other. So Energy Share is for Dominion East Ohio customers, and it is also a program of last resort for those facing financial hardships. So once again, they must go and apply for HEAP first before applying to this program, but it can provide up to $300. And the program is available January 1st through May 31st. Then there's also Heat Share, and that's for Columbia Gas customers, and it's very similar to Energy Share, just for Columbia Gas, but it does provide a little less. It provides $250, and Energy Share provides $300. And once again, must apply for HEAP before applying for this program. I'm not exactly sure when this program starts, but I believe it is definitely after some point after HEAP starts, so maybe sometime in December or the beginning of January, just like Energy Share. Salvation Army also has a program called Project Reach, and that is the Emergency Hardship Fund designed to help residential customers who have suffered a recent financial hardship and need temporary help in paying their electric bill. This helps customers with First Energy. utility companies. And it's funded through Ohio Edison customers and company employees. It's very similar to the Ohio Fuel Fund program, but the funds come from a different source, and the qualifiers are the same, but offers a little less at offering, can offer up to $200 in help. And then with Salvation Army, they may also have local help. In many communities, the Salvation Army may have their own program to help with utility bills. So read the program carefully to ensure your caller qualifies for the program, and it will provide the help that is needed. Okay. Moving along.
Rob, I have a question.
Yes.
Hi. Going back to the energy share and that sort of thing. Now, what if you have, for example, in some of the more southern counties, so Tuscarawas, Coshocton, that sort of thing, and sometimes they get tied into Guernsey and Muskingum. They don't necessarily have, they have additional, I should say, heating providers, so they might have cooperatives. A lot of the more rural areas have cooperatives. Do those programs, do you know if the cooperatives offer some kind of program like energy share, heat share, that sort of thing?
No,
there's
part of it is you're in that co-op to pay lower bills, so you're not really going to find help with co-ops.
Okay. I just wanted to know.
These programs are actually programs of energy share and heat share are actual programs of those utility companies.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if the cooperatives, because I actually had a caller today from Tuscarawas looking for stuff, and I didn't see anything, so I didn't know if there was, and they did belong to a cooperative. So I just wanted to know if maybe they had something, cooperatives had their own thing.
Co-ops, and co-ops are unregulated utilities, basically. And at the very end here, I'll go over the difference between what regulated and non-regulated utilities are. But co-op is unregulated, so it's going to be more like Cleveland Public Power. So very little help.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob. No.
I'm sorry, but yeah. All right. So we'll now go over discounts and or payment plans for utilities. And here are the taxonomies used for this type of help. So there's discounted heating fuel, which is organizations that provide firewood, heating oil, butane, propane, kerosene, coal, or other types of home heating fuel at no cost or below normal rates for people who meet age, disability, income, and other requirements, possibly. Note, there's not much help with this. We have very little listed, but still try to use this taxonomy if the caller uses this type of heating energy. There's discounted water service. I'll go over this in a moment, but it's water service providers that offer their services at below normal rates for people who meet age, disability, income, need, or other requirements. There's PIP, the Percentage of Income Payment Plan. It's a utility assistance program that helps income-eligible electric and natural gas customers afford their utilities. PIP Plus, or PIP, can be found and referred with the actual application site using the Percentage of Income Utility Payment Plan taxonomy term. And by the way, PIP is the same as PIP Plus. A few years ago, there was a change made to PIP, supposedly for the better, and because of the changes, they changed the name to PIP Plus. So technically, there really is no such thing as PIP. It's PIP Plus. PIP is just the old name of it. Then there's extended payment plans, which uses the utility budget billing, and it's found, this is actually housed with PUCO, and it's utility companies that offer a levelized payment plan under which the utility predicts what future bills will be for a customer based on the prior year's bills and anticipated charges going forward. Basically, the customer pays a level amount each month, and at the end of the budget year, the amount paid under a budget billing plan is more than actual charge, then the customer gets a credit. Okay, so going to go over discounted water service first here. See, we have Homestead Water Sewer Discount, which provides a discounted water and sewer rate to eligible seniors and for those disabled individuals. Serves a big chunk of Cuyahoga County, except for some cities. It should hopefully only, you may have to read, I'm not 100% sure how this is set up and refer, but hopefully it only comes up for those cities that are part of that plan. And also for the city of Canton also has a homestead discount. Then there's the CHN's affordability program, which qualifies qualifying customers of the City of Cleveland Division of Water and the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District are eligible for up to a 40% discount on their water or sewer bills. Must be a homeowner, reside in the house, and the household income must be at or below 200% of the federal poverty guidelines. And the discount, what's good about this is the discount lasts 1 year, but you do have to reply each year. And, you know, I know we get a lot of calls dealing with water, and people are looking for a water payment. There's not going to be much help with water payment. So you should be offering this, because if they're having problems and they live in Cleveland or use this, you know, they're a customer of the Cleveland Division of Water, should definitely be referring people to this, as it will help them down the road and hopefully get them caught up. But yeah, with there not being much help with water, this is an option to at least give people. Not really going to go over too much about the summer residential sprinkler or sprinkling user charge, as it runs through May 1st through September 30th. But that can also be a discount that can help. And then you may also, if it comes up, there may be municipal discounts. Several cities provide discounts on water bills. So if it comes up for the caller's zip code, once again, just read the service description and who qualifies, as it will be different for each city's program. And you can see where you find discounts and our payment plans. Discounted water is right there. So now, and you see right below it, PIP. And we're going to hit into PIP Plus. So PIP Plus is an extended payment arrangement that requires regulated gas and electric companies to accept payments based on a percentage of the household income for customers whose monthly countable income is at or below 150% of the current federal poverty level. Under PIP Plus, if you heat with gas, you pay 6% of your monthly household income to your gas company and 6% to your electric company. If you heat with electricity, you pay 10% of your monthly household income. Now, it is important to note that PIP Plus customers need to pay their bills on time, or should pay their bills so they do not get removed from the program. If they do get removed from the program, the entire bill balance will become due if dropped. So customers who pay their monthly PIP Plus payment on time, which is payment received before the next bill is issued, and in full, will receive 2 credits. One for giving the rest of that monthly bill, which is known as the incentive credit, and then the second for giving 1/24 of any balance they owed prior to enrolling in PIP, which is known as the arrearage credit. And this is important. If a client makes full on-time payments for 24 straight months, all of the arrearages will be eliminated. So, I mean, that's a long time. That's 2 years, but there's a huge incentive there to have, your arrearages drop down to zero. Could be huge for a lot of people. So gas customers have one billing cycle, 30 days from their anniversary date, to make up any missed payments before being removed from the program. Electric customers may be dropped if they miss 2 consecutive payments. Any missed or late payments will result in the loss of that month's credits. However, there are no fees assessed for late payments. Once again, note the entire bill balance will become due if dropped from the programs. Now, to be re-enrolled, the client must make up all missed payments that is owed from the point of removal from PIP. In addition, must pay the bills for the current monthly service for those months not enrolled in PIP. And being dropped from the PIP Plus program is independent of any action the utility company takes to disconnect service. Customers may also ask to be removed from PIP program at any time, but they will owe that arrearage as well. Now, we often come across people who either voluntarily or involuntarily leave PIP and want to get back onto PIP. I didn't put too much information on this into refer. Basically what I mentioned here is then refer to be re-enrolled clients must make up any missed payments that is owed from the point of removal. That kind of language is in there, but it gets complicated depending on the situation. So I wouldn't expect you, or I don't even know all the ins and outs of what all they must do. It gets really complicated. So what I suggest is letting individuals know, or callers know, that they should make an appointment with Community Action and let those experts at Community Action handle and give the information on exactly what they need to re-enroll in PIP, instead of us trying to remember how this is done, because it's too complicated. It's just too complicated, and I can't get it in to refer. So just send anybody. I would, do the best. Let them know the basics. That they're going to have to make up any missed payments. Let them at least know that. Then have them go ahead and make an appointment with Community Action so they can get help with that. So, Ohio customers of a PUCO regulated utility that participates in the PIP Plus program and have a household income at or below 150% of the federal poverty guidelines is what you can be a customer of that. Now, note, households with a balance still qualify for enrollment with PIP, but they must agree to accept any other energy assistance offered, and any person with a fraudulent act, such as a bad check, income not being reported, stuff like that, will be immediately dropped from the plan, and any credits awarded from the point of fraud will be added to the back to the bill. And then a person is ineligible to reapply for 24 months. Every once in a while, you might get a caller saying that, they can't get on PIP, and you ask them why or for, how long, and they're like, for 24 months, they probably wrote a bad check or did not report properly their income. Then all persons who share a common kitchen or bath are considered members of the same household and must apply on one application. In addition, college students who are absent from the home solely for the purpose of college attendance must be included in the application and cannot apply separately. And this plan is not available to landlords who include utilities in the rent. You're not going to have too many questions on, you know, families. How do we qualify my kids in college? So I wouldn't worry too much about that. That's more of what happens at Community Action. So we're going to move into re-verification, which is when a customer provides documentation of income and household size to continue in the PIP Plus program. The re-verification date is the actual date on which the customer completed the documentation of household income. Re-verification deadline should appear on monthly, and it does. I'll have a slide here to show you that in a moment. And since the customer is required to re-verify any changes in household size and incomes, the customer's re-verification date may change from year to year. It is strongly encouraged that customers postmark their re-verification 12 to 16 weeks prior to the deadline, because the process can take that long for the Ohio Development Services agency to receive and go process the application. Now, it's important to note that if somebody calls you and they're in a panic because they missed their re-verification date, let them know not to worry. There is a whole process that the utility companies go through. They send a couple notices first. It actually, from that date, takes a couple months for them to fully get kicked off. So they do have some time to work. It's just important they don't let it slide for too long. And also in Cuyahoga County, COGC does accept I'm not even going to call it walk-ins. I'll call it drop-offs of the application of PIP re-verification. So they don't even need an appointment. They can just drop off the application there and they will process it. I'm not exactly sure how long it takes for them to, the whole process from once you go to a Community Action and do it with them to what happens then with the Ohio Development Services. I would just imagine that it will still take some weeks to process. But they miss their actual date, they should still be all right. All right, so there's PIP anniversary date versus re-verification date. Now, the anniversary date establishes when the customer joins the program, and that remains the same each year, and is used to determine the arrearage credit amounts. And this is the date by which the customer must be current on installments on all their PIP installments to continue on the program. And for electric, the date is printed on the bill. The verification date is the process of updating income information. It's required once a year and can do any time throughout the year, and is required to continue on the program. Oftentimes, for many of our callers, it can be done when they're going through HEAP. So here's one example, but I have a couple better examples here. So this one, I know it's a little blurry, it's kind of hard to see, but this shows a customer who is currently on PIP Plus. The orange highlighted area shows that the customer is currently enrolled in the PIP amount and the re-verification date to reapply for the program. So you can see right here, their monthly PIP amount, their anniversary is actually right here in blue. And then it tells them when they must re-verify by, which was in 8/05/2017. So all this information is on their bill for them. Now this one shows what happens when a customer misses a PIP payment. and what shows up on the bill. In orange, you see the current amount. Once again, it shows the anniversary date. And when you have to re-verify, now their past due amount on here is $76, which would actually, to stay on this program, would have to be paid by 11/16/2017. The whole amount must be paid to be able to stay on the program. All right. Any questions on PIP? I know it's one of our more confusing programs. Any questions? Okay, excellent. All right, so we're going to move into extended payment plans. We kind of went over a little bit of this with Molly and I doing the little role play, but PUCO, regulated gas, and electric companies have the following extended payment plans available to help you or help an individual make an affordable payments and maintain service. You see them right there. It's the 1/3 plan, which Molly explained in the phone call. There's the 1/6 and the 1/9 plan. And these plans are available to all residential customers regardless of incomes. And callers should contact the utility directly, but can also call PUCO for more information, as PUCO orders them to offer these programs. Now, with these programs, you know, we're really telling people to go to PIP. Okay? You know, you might want to let them know or about these other programs and have them, you know, call the utility company first before going straight to PIP to see if one of these are a better fit for them, as these are usually not going to be, you know, a year-long contract and everything. So it might just be helpful. And also, you may want them to go ahead and contact the utility companies, because we also do not list all the plans offered by utility companies themselves. Like Dominion East Ohio Gas provides other plans as well, and customers can call to see what plan may work best for them. So I would recommend doing that. The PIP, so if one of these information, you know, if this doesn't work out, they do have PIP to follow up with. We're going to move along here. So this is Get Help Avoiding Utility Disconnection. The taxonomy is Utility Disconnection Protection. Programs are generally funded through utility rates that prohibit utility disconnections during severe weather for households with vulnerable members, including people who are ill or elderly or have disabilities or other hardships. So we'll talk about the medical cert here for a moment. It provides a 30-day delay in utility shutoff when the shutoff would make operation of necessary medical or life support equipment impossible to remain in the household during a shutoff, so that's important. Now, here's something really big with medical certs. An active medical cert removes the account from disconnection status. Once again, it removes the account from disconnection status, which may mean that they do not qualify for other programs while using the cert. Basically, a lot of our programs that help with utilities actually require you to have a disconnection notice. So if you're on the medical cert and it removes you from that, you're not going to have a disconnection notice technically. So now I have heard some places may kind of do the application under the table to speak, and then they send it in once the medical cert is up. You know, Dave earlier brought up that, you know, do they shut off then the utilities like the day after the medical cert is done? The answer to that would be no, as the utility company still has to give you another disconnection notice. then, so if a medical cert is received prior to 3:30 p.m., service will be restored the same day if it has been disconnected. If it's been received after 3:30 p.m., service will be restored at the earliest time possible the following day. Any questions on medical certs? Okay. And then just a big reminder. Yes.
I'm sorry, dude. Okay, I got a question for you with the medical certs. Is it real specific? I mean, we get a lot of callers, as I know you all know, that maybe like their children have asthma. So oftentimes I'll say that you might want to try to explore with your doctor if they'd be willing to sign off on the med cert for them. Is it really specific to like you said, like a life-threatening condition where they actually have to have, say, like a breathing machine, or they actually need the electric, you know, to let's say for a device, say, to help breathe? Do you know that, in other words? Because we get a lot of callers.
Well, it's really up to the doctor to determine that. We can't determine that. If if you're not sure, you should definitely just let the doctor make that decision.
Thank you, sir. That's what I've been doing. I just wanted to ask.
Yeah, I'm looking at the application, and basically the application says, and basically the doctor has to check one of these boxes. This patient suffers from hazardous medical condition, and termination of the utility service would be especially dangerous or life-threatening. Mm-hmm. And on the other box is this patient uses medical or life-supporting equipment, and termination of utility service would make operation of that equipment impossible or impractical. So those are the two boxes that a doctor has to click or to check.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
It doesn't really go into much more detail than that, so it's really up to the doctor.
That's what I kind of thought, and I kind of leave it with our callers sometimes where I say that the description is so vague. I encourage them to contact their physicians, like you're saying, and let them kind of take it from there. So thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, and that's kind of why it's vague.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so the big thing also to remember is to check, you make sure you use the health condition targets with the taxonomy of utility disconnection notification. There's not much help with this, but, be sure to check just to cover all your bases. Okay, and so now we're going to go into one of the bigger programs, which is winter reconnection order. So the winter reconnection order tends to start 2 weeks before winter crisis. For this year, that's going to be October 16th through April 13th. Customers of a PUCO regulated utility service that has been disconnected or threatened with disconnection can use the program. The plan may only be used once per season, and customer must reside at the property. There is no income requirement, but participant must sign up for one of the payment plans available to pay any past due balance. So the program reconnects or maintains service during the winter heating season if the customer pays $175 plus any reconnection charge not to exceed $36. With this, I think a lot of times we just tell people it's $175. We got to make sure they also hear that there's a reconnection charge as well. So in actuality, it could be over $200 that the customer or caller will have to come up with. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're explaining this to people, that it's actually a little bit more than $175. But a customer can pay out of their own pocket and would contact the utility company directly. When they call, they must mention that they want to use the winter reconnection order, or that money may just go to the past due balance, and that's not going to help them out at all. Now, if said customer cannot afford the amount, the caller or customer can access emergency heat, which will pay the $175 and get the customer reconnected. Now, PUCO also requires a regulated utility company to suspend disconnection for 5 days past the date of a customer's appointment with the community action, as that was explained earlier. And winter reconnection order will maintain service for a minimum of 30 days. And this is also important. Electric service must be connected to restore gas service. They cannot do just the gas and have the electric off. They need both. So if a caller needs both the electric and gas back on, the WRO, winter reconnection order, can be split between two regulated utility companies. If both regulated services are disconnected or in danger of being disconnected. Basically, if a caller is doing it on their own, they would pay $87.50 to each company. However, if they go through a community action agency, the agency uses a software program called Ocean to determine the split. And please don't ask me what Ocean is because I actually don't know. And this program can be found using the utility disconnection protection taxonomy. Any questions about the winter reconnection order? Oh, and by the way, at least in Cleveland Public Power, although it doesn't go through PUCO, they have their own reconnection order. You will find in there using that taxonomy of utility disconnection protection. And as you can see and referred, this is where it's at, right underneath TIP. All right, so real quick, you probably heard me use PUCO, and you may be wondering, what is the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio? Well, it affects every household in Ohio, and that is because the PUCO regulates providers of all kinds of utility services, including electric, natural gas companies, local and long-distance telephone companies, water and wastewater companies, as well as rail and trucking companies. PUCO was created to assure Ohioans adequate, safe, and reliable public utility services at a fair price. And more recently, PUCO has gained responsibility for facilitating competitive utility choices for Ohio consumers. So that's what PUCO basically is. Now, when I first started here, I had no idea what the difference between regulated and non-regulated utilities was. And it took me a while to figure this out. But in simple terms, regulated companies tend to be larger companies that are for profit, whereas non-regulated companies tend to be smaller and are nonprofits. In Ohio, private for-profit natural gas, electric, telephone, and water companies are regulated by PUCO. And many smaller utilities in Ohio are not private, not for-profit, and are not PUCO regulated utilities. Basically, they are actually a public government utility and considered a nonprofit. And these unregulated utilities may include rural electric cooperatives, co-ops, as was brought up earlier, municipal and county utilities, public water and sewer districts, and private sellers of propane and heating oil. So hopefully that helps you guys understand the difference between regulated and non-regulated utilities. Now, most Ohio residential water customers are served by municipal or county utility water departments or public water and sewer districts. Furthermore, many rural customers of Ohio receive their electric service from member-owned and controlled rural electric co-ops, such as South Central Power, Buckeye Rural Electric Co-op, and so forth. At the same time, some cities own and operate their own electric utilities. Notably, Cleveland Public Power in Columbus has their own as well. And then also PUCO receives and investigates and tries to resolve consumer complaints against regulated utilities. Anybody have any questions about PUCO? Okay, well, you guys have been great. Thank you, I do appreciate your time.
Thank you, Rob.
All right. Okay. So can everybody hear me okay? Okay. All right. Give me just a second here. Okay. So something new. I'm going to be doing a brief check-in at the tail end of each of our training webinars, and just to go over some real brief topics that don't need an entire webinar, but that might be interesting or helpful to just make note of. So first item would be, don't forget to ask callers the data questions and to record them. So the data questions, they're not optional. So we want to ask them in every circumstance where they're relevant. We want to explain why we're asking those data questions, and just rely on your script for language for that. Like different programs will serve different areas as well as sometimes different age groups. So is it okay if I ask you for your zip code and your age? So with using that language or similar language, you're asking the question, and then at the same time you're explaining to them why it is that you're needing that information. This is a real easy way to boost your QA score, to ask the questions and explain why you're asking them. And so we want to attempt to collect data on every call. However, there will be certain circumstances where it's just not appropriate. So if you have a suicidal caller, don't ask them how they heard about 211. We really don't care. We need to get someone that's in a crisis situation to the appropriate help, and we don't want to ask them things that are not appropriate or relevant when they're in crisis. Also, if you have a caller that is being very resistant to providing any sort of demographic data, and they're telling you, I don't need to tell you my zip code, I'm not going to tell you my age, let's not needle them with the continued questions. So in that sort of circumstance, if you're continuing to go through those questions and your caller is getting angry, that is not appropriate. However, in every other circumstance, don't forget to ask each of those questions, because that's an easy way to boost your score by asking them, and an easy way to lose points if you're just neglecting to do so. Okay, and kind of sort of related to that, this is just a reminder to fill out all of your required fields before making an incomplete for Tier 2 specialists. So we want to make sure that saving the incomplete is the very last thing that we do with that transaction. If you're leaving some fields blank, if you're not filling out that data page, or if there's stuff that you're not entering in, then basically you're just relying on your Tier 2 coworker to do it for you. And we don't want to do that. So just be complete with your referral. Make sure that you save your referral to the Tier 2 program. So whether it's CA, Fatherhood, Help to Vets, or MedRefer, once that's active again, you save the referral to the program and fill in all the data. Also, I just wanted to remind everybody to fill out the contact data form for all referrals that you're making to coordinated access. So anytime we're referring to coordinated access for shelter in Lucas County, you have to open up that data form and fill it out. If it's their first time calling, you're going to complete that full pre-screen form. If they've already done the pre-screen, then you stop at the spot on that form where it tells you to stop, which is right after collecting all of the contact numbers. And then I just wanted to mention here, with MedRefer, we do have a new part-time MedRefer specialist. Her name's Christy. She'll be working part-time. And she will be handling specifically the prescription assistance applications that are through the drug companies. So she just started last week, so it's going to take her some time to get through training and get her up to speed. We also have to coordinate some training with Adrienne. She's been kind enough to offer to do a few hours as a temp to help get our new person trained. So that'll be happening soon. Just stay tuned. Okay, next thing, unmet need notes. They're not really necessary. So when you're saving an unmet need, if you really feel the need to put a note in there for your own personal benefit, go right ahead. But these notes are not being used for anything. So it's pretty difficult to collect all those unmet need notes and put them into any sort of useful or relevant document, or collect data on that in any way. So if you're putting something in there, don't expect to get any sort of response or results from that. So you can see here my unmet need note. Nobody's going to care about it. However, if somebody would like to come over and take care of our cat when we go on vacation, let us know. Okay. Next thing I just wanted to touch on is recording complaints. So Matt Finley sent us all an email about this on 9/28, and essentially we just want to be very careful to record complaints going forward. In the past, recording complaints oftentimes didn't result in anything, but that has all changed now. And our community impact department has asked if 211 can help them to identify agencies that might need some assistance in improving their service quality or their customer service based on client complaints. So the next couple slides are just cut and pasted directly from Matt Finley's email. So this first example is I am going to record a complaint about a service. So in this example that he used, this is the Hunger Network at Lane Metropolitan Church. So let's just say I had a caller that says, I don't want to go to that food pantry. They give away crappy food and it's spoiled and it's terrible and I never want to go there, so don't tell me about it. So what I'm going to do is open up Lane Metropolitan Church, and I'm going to go up here where it's highlighted in the upper left-hand corner where it says Save Reason. And when I click on that, I'm going to get this pop-up over here. And you'll see highlighted down here, it says Complaint Call. And then I would save that. Now, if somebody had a complaint about the Hunger Network, not at a site level, but more as at an agency level. The person doesn't like the amount of required documents, or they don't like the way that the boundaries are drawn up, or something else that would be more at an agency level rather than an individual site. You would open up the and this is kind of the bottom corner of that Lane Metropolitan file. I would click on the part on the lower left-hand side of the screen that says Parent Agency, and then click on Save Reason and select Complaint. So this is just directly from that email from Matt on the 28th of last month. And then I just want to end on some positive notes here. So first, I had mentioned we did hire a part-time med refer specialist. So that's Christy. Since our last meeting, we have one new full-time specialist. Her name is Candy. She's going to be working full-time on site during the day. There are more interviews happening, so we hopefully will also be getting some more additional staff very soon. We now have a streamlined process for all after-hours Cuyahoga County shelter placement for families. Hooray! So instead of taking a million years to get a family placed on a weekend, all we are doing is a cold transfer to the after-hours number that is in refer if we're not able to divert the client in any other way. There's also a new streamlined process for Elizabeth Clark status checks. So Chris just sent an email out about that maybe a day or two ago, where you no longer have to fill out a form if someone wants to check on the status of their Elizabeth Clark application. There are 2 telephone numbers that are listed in refer that we can give to callers that just want to check the status of their application. Then I wanted to thank everybody for filling out the SurveyMonkey for the in-person staff meeting last month. I got a really good response rate on it, so I did not have to nag everybody to please do it. I just sent out a new link for this month's webinar, so if you wouldn't mind taking a moment to fill that out, I would appreciate it. It helps us with doing future trainings, but also it is an AIRS requirement that we get feedback on all of our training. So it's helpful for me, and it's going to be helpful for our accreditation process. And one more thing I forgot to put on the slide, and also that I forgot to tell the last group, but I just wanted to let everybody know that for September, center-wide procedure scores for procedure in with our QA were 10% higher than the center average for the last 6 months. So as a whole, as a group, we are tightening up our procedure scores on QA. So yay, good for us. Pat yourself on the back, everybody, for that. Now, does anybody have any questions before we end? All right, excellent. Todd will be very pleased that we are ending right at 4:30 on the dot. So thank you, everybody, for logging in. And don't forget to do the SurveyMonkey. And if you've got any questions or concerns about any of the material covered, then just let us know. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Molly.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, bye.
Bye.